Oops, I didn't mean to click over there. Anyway, morning. Mic check, mic check. Okay. Morning, everyone. Welcome to Tech News that Jerome Ortega finds interesting. Episode 37. Sorry, I am not caffeinated this morning. I am kind of tired. And I don't have caffeine right now, and I'm not gonna have caffeine for the next couple hours. So you know, but we're gonna go through it. There's a lot of news this morning. A lot of stuff that I want to go over, kind of stuff that I haven't really seen yet. And again, I think how this is going to work from now on is there's going to be a ton of news I'm going to kind of just quickly go through, but at the same time, you're going to learn it with me because there's a lot of stuff that I haven't read on yet. We're going to go from there. So this morning, JD, welcome to the stream. What's going on? Brian, welcome to the stream. Good morning, guys. Brian, flying back from Iceland at the airport. Hey, have a safe trip back, man. New York, right? I think I got that right. New York. Whiteout conditions. You know what? Chicago got lucky. We were supposed to get a ton of snow yesterday. I think yesterday we were supposed to get, they said up to 6 inches. And I don't even think we got an inch of snow yesterday. I mean, it did snow, but it wasn't crazy, easy enough to get by. So safe travels to you, man. Hopefully you make it back soon. I don't even know how long a flight is from Iceland to the States. Anyway, be safe, be safe. So we're going to get started this morning, though. The first piece of news, let me share my screen here. The first piece of news that I want to go over is this article. I hate this layout here. Okay, this is the better one. Hold on, JD. It snowed here in Japan again. JD, you're from Japan? I'm so jealous, man. That's where I want to go. I was actually trying to plan a trip to go to Japan this year, but being broke, it's probably not going to happen. Anyway, nice to see that it's nice to see other people just outside from the States joining in. I appreciate that. So anyway, this first piece of news here is from The Verge, saying Samsung pledges to improve Galaxy S20 camera after reviewers see issues. And it says here an update is coming. So I haven't seen any, to be honest with you guys, I don't watch a lot of other tech YouTubers, which is, I guess, kind of weird being a tech YouTuber. But usually when I make my videos, I like to make stuff that's really unbiased, that I don't like to get influenced by other reviewers. I'll read news here and there, but that's about it. I like to form my own opinions. I like to just do my own thing. But let's kind of go through this article. So, okay. JD said, nah, just deployed. I got you, man. I got you. I hear you. Okay, so Samsung has responded to some issues that early reviewers have found with the camera system on the new Galaxy S20 Ultra. Okay, so I didn't know if this was for the S20 or the S20 Plus, but maybe this is specifically for the Ultra. The company says it's working on an update to improve the camera, though it doesn't acknowledge any specific problem or confirm when the fixes will be available. We have seen the issues ourselves with both focus hunting. So if you guys aren't aware of what focus hunting is, that's kind of where the camera can't focus, right? It probably goes in and out, which is really annoying. I think I've had that issues on some of my other phones, and overbearing skin smoothing, which is not a surprise. Samsung is really good with making you look very artificial, especially I think in front camera selfie mode. I think that's something that a lot of people like, not in the States. I think in Korea or maybe just other parts of Asia, they prefer the skin smoothing thing. I'm not the biggest fan. I don't think a lot of people from the States are. Anyway, The Verge says our review will be posted soon. The Galaxy S20 features a groundbreaking advanced camera system. Samsung says in a statement to The Verge, we're constantly working to optimize performance to deliver the best experience for consumers. As part of this ongoing effort, we're working on a future update to improve the camera experience. So focus hunting is one thing, right? Like that's something they're going to need to fix right away. The skin smoothing thing, I feel like that's something they could have fixed a while ago. Even though other people like that feature, they need to put, I guess, an option there to disable it. I don't know why they haven't done that. And so every time a lot of these tech reviewers are making camera comparisons with the newer, Galaxy phones, that's always one of the biggest main complaints is the skin smoothing. Although I swear I saw people that I have on my Instagram that have posted selfies using the S20 Ultra that maybe they were using the rear camera, but the front camera, or at least from the selfies I saw, I didn't see that kind of skin smoothing. So I don't know. Reviews from publications including PC Mag and Input have highlighted that the autofocus system is unreliable. That is a shame for a $1,400 phone, often taking a long time to lock onto a subject and sometimes failing to do so. That, again, is a shame. We're still putting the finishing touches on the Verge review, but we can confirm that we found the same. The camera also exhibits aggressive image processing in certain situations, with a tendency to excessively smooth out skin. So aggressive image processing, I don't know if that really means that they are kind of upping the contrast, kind of making things just a lot more, I don't know how to say it, contrasty, I guess is the best way to put it. The Galaxy S20 Ultra's camera system is one of its main selling points, including a huge 108 megapixel sensor and a periscope telephoto lens that Samsung pitches as being usable up to 100 times zoom. Stay tuned for our review tomorrow to see how it all works in practice, at least how it works right now. What is this here? Oh, okay. S20 Ultra camera, I have doubts. That is not really promising, right? When I spend, if I'm going to be spending that much on a phone, the number one thing that I'm going to look for at that price point is the camera, because I feel like that's probably the biggest thing that separates a lot of phones at this point when it comes to price is it better have a pretty good damn camera. I don't know. Okay, so let's move on here. I have an article from Android Police. Google seeks trade ban exemption from U.S. government to continue working with Huawei. Google isn't ready to give up on one of its biggest partners just yet. A month ago, Austrian Huawei manager Fred Wangfi, hopefully I said that right, said the company wouldn't return to Google's apps and services even if the U.S. trade ban lifted. That's something that I've seen because I know that Huawei, I know there were articles about it that Huawei was working with TomTom instead of Google Maps, right? Since it can't use Google services. The Chinese conglomerate tried to backtrack on that statement, but it would still make sense for it to work on its independence in case it finds itself caught in the middle of another trade skirmish. For Google, this isn't the best situation as it could lose a lot of revenue if Huawei succeeds. And that's why Google wants to look into it, right? Because they have money to make from it. If Huawei makes great products, they want a piece of that. That's why it has made a formal application to the U.S. government seeking permission to trade with Huawei, as reported by the DPA via Heise. The DPA says it has received this information from Google manager Samir Samat, who hasn't stated when we can expect the result of the application. If Google is granted the license, okay, so they're looking for permission to use Google products and services on, software on Huawei phones. Huawei could start equipping its devices with a Google-fied version of Android again, while Microsoft has received a similar exemption that allows Huawei to continue using Windows. It's still open if the government will permit Google the same. So why does Microsoft get? Sorry, I have keys in my pocket. It's annoying the shit out of me. Why does Microsoft get an exemption and Google does not? I haven't read into that. Huawei is certainly forced to ship its Android devices without Google apps and services. So its latest phones, including the brand new Mate X's, are missing popular products like Gmail or Maps. The company also has to build a replacement for the Google Play services, which enable push notifications, location pings, and more essential API features. I haven't used a Huawei phone in a while, and I actually should look into what it looks like without any Google stuff. Might be a little weird. While none of this is an issue for the domestic Chinese market, where phones don't ship with Google software at all, I also didn't know that. Customers in other regions are dearly missing Google apps and access to the Play Store on their phones. Hopefully, Google is granted the exemption and can reach an agreement with Huawei to continue their cooperation, but time is running out. Yeah, I don't know. Will, what's up, Will? How's it going, man? You hit the gym this morning? How you doing? we're just going into the news here. I did talk about how earlier, I have the article pulled up here, how the S20 is having issues with its camera, right? How are you having an S20 Ultra at $1,400, man, and its camera is having issues? Saying it's having trouble autofocusing, which is a big disappointment. They said they're going to fix it, but how would you? Why are you going to release a phone that's going to cost that much and it's already going to have issues with its camera? Anyway, this other part is Huawei or Google trying to get Huawei to exempt them from, by putting stuff back on their phones. So whether that's going to happen or not, we don't know. So let me see here. Augustine, am I saying that right? No more short videos. I'm sorry, but I'm not kind of these kind of videos. I like the short videos about one or few themes. Will they be back? Yeah, you know what? I'm actually trying to figure my stuff out. I don't know if you've seen, sorry, I have shit in my pockets and I'm just trying to get it out because I hate sitting on it. Yeah, I want to make short videos. I have plans for that. It's just there's a lot going on right now. I'm back in Chicago. I just moved back. I'm working with my news team. There's just a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, I mean, I still do those. I want to do those, but I'm trying to plan my schedule out here. So anyway, Augustine, thanks for making the stream. Whether you stay or not, I appreciate your support regardless. Jarrell, I hit the gym too. I know you do. You don't have to. For you guys who don't know, that this is my cousin who's I guess invading my chat for a little bit. Actually, I didn't go to the gym right now. I'm after this. I'm probably gonna hit the gym because I couldn't wake up early this morning, so I'm gonna go after. Okay, let's move on. So this is I kind of put these together because they're related, right? Google reportedly wants to work with Huawei once more. Why does Google want to work with Huawei? Because money, right? So Google still wants to do business with Huawei. That's what we're getting from recent talks. Google's rumored to be asking permission from the White House to work again with Huawei. We believe that's possible, but we're taking things with a pinch of salt for now. It hasn't been a year since we shared with you the news that Google was cutting off some business with Huawei, no thanks to the effort of the US government for a trade ban. If you remember, the decision of Google made other big brands to follow. Qualcomm, Broadcom, and Intel made a similar announcement. Google had to make sure then that services would still be available for existing Huawei devices. For a while, though, the US temporarily eased some limits. Same kind of stuff already. So, I'm just looking to see here what would be different. Huawei launched its own mobile OS, the Harmony OS. Never used it. When the Huawei Mate 30 series was launched, it didn't include a Google Play Store and Google Play services. Still really weird. I don't know how much of a phone it would be missing all that stuff. Instead, Huawei used its own Huawei Media Services and EMUI 9.1. Huawei appears to be moving on. Blah, blah, blah. Again, it's not possible since there are millions of Huawei phones in the world today. That may even change since 4 Chinese mobile OEMs are now working on a Google Play Store alternative. Huawei, Xiaomi, Vivo, and Oppo. Yeah, I mean, you're going to cut them off or they're going to get cut off. They're going to go ahead and make some of their stuff. So, yeah, anyway, okay. So next article, Qualcomm Snapdragon X60 versus X55, next year's ultrafast 5G chip explained. So I actually took a little time. I didn't read through the whole thing, but I read the big differences in here and why this is important. And this is also why buying a phone for 2020 with 5G in it is probably not the best idea. Again, this is something I've reiterated in the past, but I feel like buying a 5G phone for 2020 this year is not the best idea. Actually, after seeing this article, it's like you're better off waiting till next year. And so we'll go through this. Qualcomm's 3rd generation 5G modem brings that 5G speed you've been hearing about, plus a lot more. When it comes to new technology, there's a natural timeline that seems to happen. The 1st generation feels like a proof of concept, which means if you buy a 1st generation 5G phone, I don't want to say you're a sucker, but you're kind of a sucker. No, you're more of a guinea pig at that point, and offers enough to get us interested. The 2nd generation works of fixing flaws and refining the basics. And I think that's where we're at right now. We're in a 2nd generation of the 5G, because last year there were a couple 5G phones that came out that came really early to market that I just don't feel like was the best time. This year, they're really pushing for it. And again, I still don't know if it's the best time. Again, I would wait till next year, but let's continue. Qualcomm Snapdragon X60. So this new one that's coming out is going to be called the X60. 5G modem is just that, the third generation of the company's 5G modems, and it's ready for prime time. So again, 2021. You want to buy a 5G phone? My suggestion is to wait till 2021. Compared to the X6 or compared to the X50 first generation and X55 second generation, which I think that's what most phones are coming in with right now, X55 chipsets, it's set up to make considerably better use of 5G networks in ways that we will notice. So the X50 was built on a 10 nanometer process. This is something that Mike, Simply Your Device, Mike is the guy that I co-host with The Standard on Sundays, and he was kind of explaining this. Is the X50 was built on a 10 nanometer process. The X55, which I think is what's coming in most phones now, are built on a 7 nanometer process. And this X60, which is coming out next year, is going to be built on a 5 nanometer manufacturing process. You probably heard people talk about the manufacturing processes and nanometers and what it all means. Blah, blah, blah. In a nutshell, new tech allows the transistors and other parts used inside a microprocessor to be packed more densely. So let's just kind of skim through this. So a chip using this 5 nanometer process, which is this chip that's going to be used in next year's X60 modem, would use 15% less power to do the same amount of work built using the 7 nanometer process like the X55, which is what you're seeing in a lot of modems today. A chip using the 5 nanometer process like the X60 would be able to do 30% more work using the same amount of power as a chip built using the 7 nanometer process like the X55. More importantly, when it comes to small portable devices like smartphones, is that the physical size of the chip is smaller. That means phones like Samsung can make a smaller phone or use the extra space to add something like a larger battery, which is great. So this modem, the X60, will do more than the X55, but it shouldn't need to run at full power all the time, so it'll save battery, which again is great. So you're going to get a smaller chip, you're going to get better battery life, better efficiency. So let me just kind of skim through this so we can see. Okay, so here's the big takeaway that I saw with this new modem, right? The X50 modem could connect to either a millimeter wave network like Verizon's or a sub-6 gigahertz network like Sprint's, but not both. So the very first generation 5G chipset could only work on one or the other. Can't work on both. And then the X55, which is what you're seeing in a lot of phones this year for 2020, is able to connect to both types of network, but not at the same time. And then the X60, which is coming out next year, breaks that barrier and it can do both. So it says it can aggregate millimeter wave and sub-6 gigahertz networks, as well as aggregate multiple types of sub-6 gigahertz networks all at once. That means the X60 can combine a data stream from different network frequencies, which results in higher speeds and bandwidth. There's probably a lot more in this. I don't really want to go in depth with this because I have a lot of news to go through. But this is the one to wait for. So if you want to get a 5G phone, a flagship 5G phone, I would wait for a phone that has the X60 modem in it, since it can do a lot more than what the current X55 will give you. There is a part here that says, so when? And it says here, expect the production of the chips to start in 2020, and we should see the X60, so this modem, with the next generation of Snapdragon chip in early 2021. Again, this is why I feel like 2020 is not the year for 5G. 2021 is the better call for it. So if you were thinking about getting a 5G phone, wait till 2021. If you're still thinking about getting a new phone this year, I would save your money, right? And get a really affordable, really well-performing phone from 2019, like a good performer from there. I feel like that's the best call here. The real question is if the carriers will be ready. 5G rollouts aren't cheap, and there has been a lot of work getting 5G in place. Again, very true. But we've yet to see a true coast-to-coast nationwide 5G network and might not see one for several years. And by that time, everything might have changed and the X60 won't seem as wonderful as it does today. Yeah, that's also true, because who knows, right? While this X60 is coming out, while it can do a lot more than what the current ones can do, who knows what else will come out. So we're excited to see what Qualcomm shows off at its next 5G summit. Let's see here. Will says, just wait 3 months. The S20 will be a third to half off on Swappa. Can you imagine, right? Can you imagine 3 months from now, you can get an S20 for $500? That's a great deal, but that's also me bitching about how expensive phones shouldn't be and why these phones should be priced cheaper, but whatever, right? Okay, so let's move on here. I have this article from BGR saying iPhone 12 might get lightning fast new charging tech. Whether this is going to be true or not is really up in the air. Every time I see iPhone rumors, it's very hard to believe because I really don't know. I feel like Android leaks are a lot more reliable when they come out than what iPhone leaks come out with. I feel like everybody's trying to guess what iPhone's going to do next or what Apple's going to do next, but Apple's really tight-lipped about a lot of their stuff. So Will's already saying nah. So we've seen incredible upgrades in processing speeds, graphical power, and camera functionality on smartphones in recent years. But one of the features that repeatedly ends up at the top of the most wanted list for many consumers is longer battery life, which Apple already has. Apple already has a great battery on the iPhone 11 and the iPhone 11 Pro. It is difficult to take advantage of all the improvements on your phone if the device is always on life support. Very true. Very true. Pixel 4, always on life support. I picked up my Pixel 4 this morning. It had no battery. So I threw it on the charger and then I forgot to take it with me when I came to the studio. Yeah. Let's see here. IT Home reports that Apple, Huawei, Oppo, and Samsung all plan to use gallium nitride, GaN technology for faster charging solutions. One paper even went as far as to claim that this year, several manufacturers of the same size as Xiaomi will release GaN power adapters, possibly referring to the vendors above. While GaN technology is similar to silicon, GaN charger requires fewer components and can sustain higher voltages than silicone. Plus current runs, this is very technical. I don't really want to get into all the technical stuff. If you want to see just how much of a difference gallium nitride makes, look no further than the new Xiaomi GaN USB Type-C 65-watt charger, which is capable of charging the Xiaomi Mi 10 Pro from 0 to 100% in just 45 minutes. That's incredibly fast. The company also notes that the accessory will charge the iPhone 11 50% faster than the 5-watt charger that comes in the box. Well, anything is going to charge faster than the goddamn little whatever that they put in the iPhone 11. Just use the one that the Pro gives you. But yeah, how much is that going to cost by itself? Anyway, but imagine how much faster it would be if these phones actually supported 65-watt fast charging. This is a question that I have too, right? So if a phone can support 65-watt fast charging, how does that affect the battery life? With this technology, does it eat the battery life more than just a slower charger? I don't know. I'm not sure. Will says 120 hertz, 3 hours. Go Samsung. Yeah. Make sure, guys, if you're using a S20, you either have a power source if you want to be running 120 hertz on it. Otherwise, that thing is going to eat its battery like crazy. The Pixel 4 is in hospice at 100% charge. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you, man. It usually is. That phone, when I use my Pixel 4, there's a lot of times I pick it up and the battery's dead. And I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. Always. That's always the issue for me. I think it's $20. It's not bad. It's not bad. Still wouldn't pay $20, but it's not bad. The battery health suffers. Yeah. So yeah, you can have a phone that might support really fast charging, but I don't think the battery is going to fare very well. But if you're only going to have that phone for a year or two, then what do you care, right? So whether or not this happens with Apple, who knows? I think if they know it's going to eat their battery or if it's going to affect the health the way it is, they're probably going to skip on it. So, All right. Here's something that I pulled up. I haven't had a chance to go through it yet, but it says here Microsoft Surface Duo teaser videos leaked online. Microsoft still matters. Not many people may care about the software giant, but there's still room for the brand when it comes to mobile devices. No, we're not talking about Windows Phone, just Surface tablets. In October last year, the company unveiled 2 new tablets that are due for release this 2020, which look pretty awesome. The Microsoft Surface Duo and the Microsoft Surface Neo are expected to be revealed in a few months. Just before 2019 ended, the Microsoft VP teased the Surface Duo would have holograms. Oh, they did? I didn't see that. That's a wild idea, but not impossible. Over a week ago, a funny thing happened. Well, we can't say it was funny for Microsoft, but a Surface Duo demo failed during live stream. I didn't see that. We would have forgotten about it, but Microsoft edited the footage published online. Of course they would. I mean, PR. Well, we can't blame Microsoft for editing the video. Exactly what I just said. Right now, we only want to see and get a hold of the real thing. There's no unit available yet. We have to wait for Microsoft to roll out the new Surface tablets later this year. Teaser videos of the Surface Duo appeared on Twitter. Wait, so these are real, right? This is really from Microsoft? This is their... Why are they not showing me the whole screen here? Guy? Okay. I mean, it's cool, but like, okay, there we go. I was going to say, open the goddamn tablet. Or Duo, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty cool. Finally, quote, a working demo. It's not the real thing, but a video render. Oh, okay. So it's not real. Of what could be the Surface Duo. We're not sure if this is from Microsoft or a simple render by a fan. Okay. I don't know. It still looks cool, though. The Microsoft Surface Duo shows something like an LG phone with an LG dual screen. It folds in the middle with a hinge. Yeah, okay. There's no foldable display, but 2 separate screens. Yeah. Details are scarce, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, yeah, so this is not official. I'd love to see this thing come out. Love to get my hands on it, but it's probably going to be crazy expensive. And yeah, so pretty cool. But I thought this is going to be an actual real thing from Microsoft. Okay, next article. Spotify and Apple Music growth boosted music streaming to its highest ever revenue in 2019. This is something that I'm just going to skim through. It's not surprising, right? Like, I use Spotify. I know people who use Apple Music because they're just tied to the Apple ecosystem, but I've been using Spotify for years, and I pay very cheap prices because I'm on a family plan. I think I pay less than $3 a month, and I have no plans on switching. So what you need to know, the year-end 2019 music revenue report from the RIAA revealed that paid subscriptions to on-demand streaming services jumped by 25% in 2019. Not a surprise. Total revenue from streaming music increased by 19.9% last year, accounting for almost 80% of all recorded music last year. And the number of paid subscriptions rose 29%, crossing the 60 million mark. I don't know who still uses I guess physical media for music. I mean, I do have some CDs, and sometimes I'll buy them once in a while if I can't find them on Spotify, and then I'll end up ripping them, and then I have like my own digital copy. But yeah, at this point I use Spotify 99.9% of the time. I don't really know many people who use anything otherwise. Will says, I'm on Apple Music and Google Music because of YouTube without commercials. So you pay for both? Google Music because of... Oh, so wait, if you use Google Music, you won't get ads for YouTube? I didn't know that. I thought you had to have YouTube Premium to get ad-free stuff. I don't know. Clarify for me. I didn't know that. Or if I did do that, is that cheaper? So if I got Google Music, I won't have YouTube ads? Could I still download YouTube videos, or do I need YouTube ad or YouTube Premium for that? Apple Music's only $5. Yeah, but I pay less than $3 for Spotify. But I get you. I hear you, man. 6. Hey, did you say hi earlier, 6? No, you didn't. Hey, what's up, 6? How's it going, man? Welcome to the stream. I download my music. I don't pay for nothing. Okay, there's that option too, which is also a great option. I'm not condoning downloading music that's not yours, but I'm just saying that's an option that some people do. So don't ban me, YouTube. I pay for Google Music and you get YouTube Premium. Well, shit. Well, how much is that though? You didn't give me a price here. Give me a price. All right, let's move on. So I have this article from TechCrunch. Apple to begin online sales in India this year. Open first retail store in 2021. What is why that's such a random thing to have there? Okay. For a decade, Apple has solely relied on third-party sellers, stores, and marketplaces to sell its products in India. That'll begin to change this year. At the company's annual shareholder meeting Wednesday, Chief Executive Tim Cook told investors that Apple will open its online store in India, the world's second largest smartphone market, at some point this year, and will set up its first flagship brick and mortar store next year. This is going to be interesting actually to have Apple products in India, because I feel like in India, right, the dominant cell phone maker, the dominant cell phone usage is Android. And with budget phones coming out for Apple, if the budget prices are true at like $400, I don't know what that equates to internationally. I don't know if it's going to be more expensive because of fees or whatever. I really don't know how that works, but it looks like Apple wants to break the market into different parts of the country here. So let's see here. I'm not really going to go through this whole thing. It's this is Apple expanding. It's putting its phones in other parts of the market. So Apple has attempted to broaden its appeal in India by looking to reduce prices of its handsets. Exactly what I was talking about. For years, it urged the government to provide it with some tax benefits. When they didn't materialize, Apple moved to do something that all Chinese phone makers have done in India: assemble smartphones locally. Okay. So they have incentives, blah, blah, blah. Apple contractors Foxconn and Wistron are assembling a range of iPhone models in India, and that has lowered the prices for a number of models. Okay. So Apple shipped close to 925,000 iPhone units in India in the quarter that ended in December. That figure up 200% year over year. Yeah, so things might be changing if a lot of people in India start moving over from Android to iPhone. Plus, they get that fancy blue bubble because, why talk to someone with a green bubble? Right, iPhone users. Anyway, that's it. I just wanted to kind of skim through that. $10 for YouTube Premium. It can't be, because I'm paying $15, I think, for YouTube Premium. Am I looking at this wrong? I don't know. Yeah, if you pay for Play Music, YouTube Premium is included. Well, why am I paying $15 for YouTube Premium by itself? Why I should just get the Google Music thing, right? Am I missing something here? Why is it more expensive if I'm just buying YouTube Premium directly? That budget phone is going to be good for India. It'll undercut OnePlus. Yes, it will. Totally agree. So we'll see how that plays out. Okay. So the LG V60, this article's from Talk Android. LG V60 ThinQ goes all in on 5G because everyone's going all in on 5G, even though 5G is not ready yet for 2020. This is me just griping, so you're going to listen to me say that every time I'm in front of the camera. Folding screens and Monster hardware meet the company's 2020 flagship. I know nothing about this phone. I haven't owned an LG since the G8. Maybe it's been a while. So meet the LG V60 off the presses. LG's continuing their trend of attacking market trends in there, and they're doing to you, LG, for not getting rid of the headphone jack, for keeping a flagship phone up to date with stuff. There's a lot to be excited. There's a lot to be excited about here, and a little bit to be wary of. All right, this is the part that I want to know. What's to be wary of? Let's dig in and see what LG's cooked up to take on the Galaxy S20. So if there was ever a culmination of high-end LG features in one package, the LG V60 ThinQ is finally it. These names are just... Okay, so the LG V60 ThinQ. See, you know what? I'm 36 minutes into the stream, and like my voice is speaking for an hour straight. I'm just, you know what? I'm this channel, this TNT Joe-Fi is just going to get more laxed and laxed the more I do it. because I'm just at this point where whatever. I don't know why I'm ranting right now. It's just because I can. So this LG V60 ThinQ has a 6-point-inch FHD plus P OLED display, although still with a notch. Powered by a Snapdragon 865, 8 gigs of RAM, and 5G connectivity. So top of the line flagship phone with 8 gigs of RAM. Again, I'm in that weird spot right now where if I know I'm going to be paying a lot of money for an Android phone, this 8 gigs of RAM thing kind of throws up a red flag for me. I might be an outlier here, but like I'm expecting more at that point. There's 128 gigs of internal storage, which is good, plus expandable memory, which is good, a headphone jack, and wireless charging. It's waterproof, features an in-display fingerprint scanner. I wonder how good this is, and has a massive 5,000 milliamp hour battery, powering everything. So dual screen, dual screen. So it's going to multitask with 8 gigs of RAM. I just don't know how efficient it is. I really don't. Sorry, I'm looking at stuff here. Looking at the chat. $15 for family members. I got the wrong one. Son of a bitch. What? I didn't. Okay. I'll talk to you guys later about that. You know, the family plan. What's the password? If you want an invite, I'm going to keep it probably for another month. So I'll let you know. Yes, I don't give a fuck. I really don't. George. Hey, George. Morning. How's it going, man? One reason that I ordered the S20 was a chance to try out 5G. I didn't order for that reason since I would have gotten it anyway. Fair enough. Do me a favor when you get that S20, George, is download the speed test app and let me know what kind of LTE speeds or what kind of cell speeds you're getting on your S20. And then run it with your whatever phone you have that's 4G. Just curious to see what kind of speeds you're going to get. Just curious. So I'd be interested to see how that works. Okay, let me see here. The S20 lets you pin apps. That's why all the RAM. Okay. Will says, how much RAM do you need? It's not how much RAM do I need. I just feel like with Android always putting phones saying 12 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs of RAM, $1,000, $1,500, $8,000. Like I want to see more than 8 gigs at this point. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy about that. I'm cracking up. They think I'm crazy in here. Yeah, but you know what? I enjoy it. So thanks for coming in, Will. All right, let's go back to this LG V60 ThinQ. LG's been tweaking their dual screen case attachment for a couple years now. Have any of you guys used any of these LG dual screen ones? And it really started to shine with the LG G8X. Our review found that it was relatively cool, if clunky, attachment that gave you a much more affordable taste of folding phones and screens. The case is back again for the LG V60 ThinQ. I hate saying that. It's such a long name to say, but with a few new tricks. One area that bogged the G86 down was its lack of ability for many apps to really take advantage of the second display. Okay, so they solved that by adding Google Apps to the mix, which should open a whole world of extra flexibility alongside LG's apps. It still has the small outer display for notifications, still features a mirror display so you don't get quality mismatches, and still needs to rely on the V60's battery to juice it all up. Maybe not perfect, but it's better this time around. All right. I don't know. I'm not really going to go through this entire thing. I don't know how you guys feel about this LG V60. I'm not still sold on 2 screens. I don't really need 2 screens. I mean, I already carry 2 phones. So maybe I don't need 2 screens since I carry 2 phones. But the only benefit right now that I see with having 2 screens at this point for me is if I want to watch a live stream, right, and have the main stream going on one screen and the comments on the other. I think that's a really cool feature. I need to see it implemented on other things. Where's the LG G9? Yeah, where is the LG G9? While the V60 ThinQ looks really cool, it makes me wonder where the G9 is. The G series of phones usually debut earlier in the year, while the V series have pretty unpredictable launches, but generally come out later in the year to compete with Samsung's Galaxy Note line. Does a spring launch mean the G series phones are gone? It's hard to tell. we did technically just see a new G series refresh with the G8X ThinQ. What is with these goddamn G8X Thin? I can't. Although that seemed more like a concept device to push the dual screen attachment with an affordable price. Will the G9 be something that tests new features before getting mainline into the V70? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. So let me go back to the chat here. The LimeWire. God, I remember LimeWire. I used to use LimeWire. Phenomenal, psychological, crazy. I need a funky beat with that. Will, FYI. I'm kind of curious to try the LG dual screens, but money is limited. Yes, money is limited for many of us, George. Totally agree. Okay, so let's move on. Because I think I have another 8 articles to go through. Samsung Galaxy Watch Active 2 LTE. That is not another long name for something that I'm 43 minutes in of talking, and it's not annoying. So the Samsung Galaxy Watch Active 2 LTE review. The best smartwatch for Android users, maybe for iPhone users too, which is pretty interesting. To see that there might be a smartwatch that might be better than the iPhone watch, Apple Watch, not iPhone watch, Apple Watch. After using the Galaxy Note 10 Plus for a couple months and then getting the chance to try out the new Galaxy S20 Ultra 5G, because that's not a long name, I figured I should try out Samsung's latest smartwatch, the new Samsung Galaxy Watch Active 2. I need a drink. Was released late last year, and after a week with the LTE model, I can't believe I waited so long to test one out. The Galaxy Watch Active 2 was released about 6 months after the Galaxy Watch Active, but several improvements made it clear. The Watch Active 2 was the only version Samsung should have released in 2019. They released, okay, wow. Yeah, that's 2 releases pretty quick. And improvements included 2 size options, an LTE variant, improved sensors, slightly larger display, newer version of Bluetooth, audio running coach, and touch-based rotating bezel navigation option. How much? How much is this phone or watch? $419. $40 or $30 discount. The Wi-Fi model is available for $269. That's not so bad, I guess. I mean, for the Wi-Fi model, right? I'm just seeing if there's really. I've never really used a watch like a smartwatch, so going through this isn't as going through the technicals in it isn't as interesting for me. I was just curious to see why it could compete with the Apple Watch. So the software continues to run Tizen. I say that right, Tizen, fully optimized for the round wearable experience. Okay, here we go. How is the Galaxy Watch Active 2 different than the Apple Watch 5? Now that I've used both watches, I prefer the Watch Active 2 for the following reasons. You guys here with an Apple Watch, chime in on this to see if these are valid reasons here. So the reason he says that this Galaxy Watch Active 2, this is different, but why he prefers it. LTE without limits. Unlike the Apple Watch, the Galaxy Watch Active is fully standalone for LTE capability. So you do not need a phone at all to use it for calls, texting, or other internet services, such as streaming Spotify music directly to the watch via cellular networks. Sleep tracking. Oh, that's right. I don't think the Apple Watch has sleep tracking, right? Stress tracking. How do they track stress? Is it your blood pressure? How your heart? User interface with digital rotating bezel. Don't really. A vast number of watch face options in the Galaxy Store. Is that enough? Is that enough to beat the Apple Watch? I don't know. Let's see here. Will says, that isn't happening if it's running Tizen. Samsung watches are cool, but no good apps. Will thinks that these reasons do not make it better than the Apple Watch 5. They make it up. Just like the blood pressure monitor on the S9. Yeah, I'm where are they coming up with this stuff? I don't know. I mean, like, I just don't know if they're legit, and I'm guessing they're not. Anyway, I'm done with this article because I just don't. I don't know. Maybe it's biased. Plus, it's ZDNet, and I don't know. I don't really read stuff on ZDNet, nor do I really trust what they say, but I could be wrong. Okay. So here is an article that I found was interesting, which also confused me. I didn't read this whole thing. I think I read maybe like 2% of it, but the title intrigued me because it said Samsung Galaxy S20 versus iPhone 11. Which should you buy? Which the Galaxy S20 is $1,000. Why didn't they compare this to the iPhone 11 Pro, which was $1,000? I mean, I get it. You guys can compare Android Central. You guys can compare whatever the fuck you want, but I would have thought you would have compared something with a similar price point. More impressive, Galaxy S20. Yes, because it's also more expensive. Just $700 versus $1,000. The baseline Galaxy S20 is the lowest end model in this year's S lineup, but its specs and features suggest otherwise. Yes, because it's $1,000. Of course, having the lowest end model, it's $1,000. Goddamn. Having 120 hertz refresh rate with Samsung's AMOLED display panel is a pure joy. The camera system is improved over previous generations, although I just talked about how there was an article about how the S20 is having focus issues, which Samsung said they're going to fix. But wow, you're going to have $1,000 phone minimum with autofocus issues. That's an issue, Samsung. And to sell this phone at that price to many consumers is I don't know. It just feels like you guys don't care. I'm really bitter today. And things like expandable storage and reverse wireless charging give the S20 a nice edge over the iPhone. Just be prepared to spend a lot of money, obviously. Also, reverse wireless charging. Let's talk about that real quick. Reverse wireless charging means that on my iPhone 11 Pro, if I have, like right now, I think I have maybe 85% battery on it. If I wanted to give battery to other people to charge other things, I think that's a neat feature, but I don't know if I'd ever use it. I don't know if anybody really ever uses it. Anyway, that's it. So for the iPhone, somehow we're living in an alternate reality where Apple's iPhone is now cheaper than the latest Samsung Galaxy. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is such a weird way to frame an article. You make some trade-offs with the iPhone 11, such as being limited to a 60 hertz LCD screen and only having 2 rear cameras, but that doesn't make it any lesser of a phone. Performance, camera quality, and battery are all top-notch. Totally agree. The fact that it costs hundreds of dollars less is just icing on the cake. Again, just a weird way to word this whole thing because you guys could have, I know, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, let's see here. Bias. Yeah, I think he's talking to you, Will, right? Not me. George says, I hope the autofocus issue is resolved before I get mine. I hope so. Make sure you do a test. Let us know how that autofocus is. If that does, have an issue. I'm curious to see how your $1,000 phone can't autofocus. Will says, who uses that? Yeah, who uses wireless reverse charging? I'm waiting for someone to tell me that, like, hey, someone ran out of battery, so I just gave them 10% of my battery, and it took half an hour because they just couldn't find a charger somewhere. Will says, I tried it on the Note 10 and it killed my Note. George says, I never use reverse charging, but I have chargers all over the place. Yeah, same here. Will says, I have tried a few Galaxy watches. They're nice because they're round, but the Apple Watch is seamless. JD says that article is biased. It didn't match up with the Pro. Yeah, I think what they're trying to say is like, hey, here's the lowest end Galaxy S20. Here's the lowest end iPhone. And wow, the iPhone's cheaper than the Galaxy S20. Well, yeah, I know. It's worded really weird. I don't know. Whether you pick up the Galaxy S20 or iPhone 11, you can rest assured you're getting one of the best smartphones the market has to offer. Let's forget this article right now. Let's talk about the Galaxy S20 versus the iPhone 11 Pro. Right, you're having two phones at the same price point, $1,000. You're not going to get the best camera on the S20 because if you want that, you're going to have to get the S20 Ultra, which costs $1,400. So I don't have an S20 because I don't have $1,000 to spend right now. nor do I really want to spend $1,000 on another phone instead of paying for my car this month. But I can't do any fair comparisons. I have a hard time trusting other reviewers because I am not the one doing it. Really, the only person I trust is myself most of the time. But yeah, to know that I would buy an S, that's why I wanted to buy an S20 Ultra, because I wanted to get the best camera on a flagship phone. But now they're forcing me to pay $1,400 instead of $1,000, and it's just, to me, it's like a big fu to the consumer. I'm really trying to refrain myself from cussing a lot, but I'm having a hard time, and I think that might be harder as these shows go on. But yeah, I think the more fair comparison here would be $1,000 Galaxy S20 versus $1,000 iPhone 11 Pro, and which is the better choice, right? And I think that might depend, right? That might depend if you're in Apple's ecosystem or you're in Android's ecosystem. It might depend if you really want that 120 hertz display. You want that better refresh rate because you play games on your phone. I mean, everyone's use case is different. Everyone has different priorities, right? So I don't know off the bat how well it would do because I don't have one. So it's hard for me to compare. Let's see here. Sorry, guys, I'm looking at the chat. I'm just looking at these last couple of things here. With the S20, you're paying for 5G like all the 5G phones will do. Perfect. Another perfect reason, right? People might say, well, your phone doesn't have 5G and mine does, and mine can get 5G some of the times, and sometimes it's slower than your 4G. I'm just being a dick now. But yes, you're right, George. 5G is another reason that people might buy that phone. Six says anything that has a price tag of $1,000, you really have to think it through, even if it's a high-end iPhone with years and years of support. Very true, which is why the iPhone 11 at $700, because people have asked me, they're like, Jerome, should I get the iPhone 11 Pro or the iPhone 11? A lot of times I think the better answer is the iPhone 11, because I don't know how often people use the wide angle lens. I mean, I use it a lot more than I really thought I would. So I do bring that up to people. And then other than that, the iPhone 11 Pro will have a better display, but I am telling you that I would say 9 out of 10 people wouldn't even notice, right? You put that stuff side by side. Yeah, you might notice it, but I think to the average consumer, it's not something they're looking for. It's not something that they're going to be like, wow, this is why it costs $300 more. Sold, completely sold. I'm going to spend my extra $300 because the display is that much better. I don't think people have ever really said that. Yeah. Oh, you get the wide. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right, Will. Not the wide angle. The telephoto. You don't get the telephoto lens. My bad. You're right. George says, you sound bitter today, Jerome. I'm used to the upbeat Jerome. I don't know. I kind of like the bitter Jerome because I'm the more honest Jerome at this point. But I'll give you a little both. I'll try to mix it in there. It's also it's almost 9 a.m. and I haven't had any caffeine yet, and I've been up since 5:15. So yeah, I think I need caffeine in me. That's probably another thing. Anyway, that's it. I'll leave it there. I have about 6 more stories, and I got about maybe 10ish minutes or so. Will says, I like this Jerome. This is honestly the more honest and genuine Jerome, which I probably need to find a good mix of, because I don't like being a fake Jerome either. You know what I mean? Where you have that fake personality on YouTube, like, hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to, I can't even do it. I can't do it this morning. I really can't. I can't give it to you. 6 says the iPhone 11 isn't as bad as people say it is. It looks just fine unless you put it side by side with a Pro or a Samsung OLED. I mean, is it really? Are people really complaining about the display? I haven't really heard many people who have an 11 who tell me that. They don't go up to me and be like, man, this display isn't worth it, Jerome. Why did I pay $700 for this phone? I don't know. But still, it's watchable. Yeah, I'm sure it is. JD says the average consumer, does it work versus tech heads? Walk into a bar, my phone does these tricks. That is a great way of putting it. It really is. I think I used to be that guy, especially back when I was a big Android fanboy is I would try my best to show every new feature that an iPhone or that my Android could do that an iPhone couldn't. And now that I look back at it, I kind of cringe at that because I'm like, God, like nobody really cared. Nobody cared that it did that. They just be like, yeah, but my iPhone does what it needs to do. And it's like, but no, wait, let me show you. And no, that's a couple years ago though. You're still lovable. Thank you, George. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Hangry and caffeine deprived Jerome. You know what? Let me tell you something about hangry, Brian. If you're watching this still, I will show you hangry right now. This is actually something I'm trying to. Can I should switch this to the main screen. Do you see that? 81 hours, right? That 81 hours is the last time I ate. It's been a while. So yes, hangry for sure, caffeine deprived for sure. Jerome, you need to we keep referencing 267. Should I just get him on the show? I mean, I feel like you guys are rooting for him to he doesn't even know who I am. He doesn't know I exist right now. And I've been doing nothing but watching 267 videos. Will says, yeah, nobody does that side by side thing. Nobody does. Nobody does. Yeah, George even says, I love the display on my 11. Like, have you looked at your iPhone 11, George, and have you said, like, have you put it next to another phone of yours, and were you like, man, the display on this 11 is awful. It's awful. Why would I buy this phone? Why do I spend money on this phone? I feel like that doesn't happen. I feel like it really doesn't. Gilio Jax. Hey, Gilio Jax, welcome to the stream. Hard to go back to IPS from OLED. I get that. Totally makes sense. I totally understand. And I think, again, that might be the more techie side of us that sees that and that notices that. But I agree with you. I feel you there. Will says iPhone users don't care. I agree. Mike, welcome to the stream. My iPhone XR display is just fine, which I'm sure is fine for a lot of people. Will says you can flip the phone open, but oops, RCS messaging is down. Yeah. Who here uses RCS? Show of hands. Anybody? Show of hands. No one. I can't see anyone. Anyone using RCS? I don't think so. I think Will and I use RCS, but that's just because we've been trying it out. He also says Android has tons of features, but messaging sucks. You get duplicate apps, bloat, varied carrier support, etc. Will, you really hate Android. I'm just going to say that right now. You're just done with Android. Will, what's RCS? JD says I use it. George says that's why I program my coffee maker at night. Coffee must be ready when I wake up, or you don't want to deal with me in any way. That's how I feel right now. I'm kind of struggling at this moment. Kind of struggling. I'm gonna have caffeine in a little bit, but I think I'm gonna try to go to the gym first without having any caffeine and see how that goes. So let's move on here. Gilio Jax also uses RCS, so people use it. Maybe more tech people use it, I guess. But yeah, Jerome Will is Tim's adopted son. I feel like it is. How much is Tim Cook paying you, Will? How much is Tim Cook paying you? Will is that boring average consumer? Oh God. All right, let's move on. I have 6 more articles. I don't even know if I'm going to go through all of these because I really need something to drink. Verge, Google's teaming up with Adidas and EA for a new Jacquard product. Is it wrong that I don't even know what Jacquard is? I feel like it's something bougie. EA Sports, FIFA mobile brand, and Adidas soccer arm are teasing some kind of collaboration involving Google's touch-sensitive fabric, which is made under the Jacquard name. Sorry, I'm like trying to pause here to catch my breath. In the short GIF in the teaser tweet, the Adidas, FIFA Mobile, and Jacquard logos all appear along with a Play Connected tagline, and March 10th, which is presumably when more details about the new collaboration will be announced. Okay, so I don't know shit about it. They're not telling us shit about it. Jacquard, which is made out of Google's advanced technology and projects, ATAP, Skunkworks Group, incorporates touch-sensitive fabric into clothes and accessories. So how does this work? That fabric is linked to a tiny computer that can connect to your phone, and you can touch the fabric to do things like control music and silence your phone. So you touch the fabric on yourself. Really? Right now, Jacquard is only available on certain Levi's jackets and a Yves Saint Laurent backpack. This I know is bougie. I've never owned whatever this is, but I know it's probably bougie and expensive, and I'm not going to spend money. The most bougie backpack I have is a JanSport backpack, and that costs about $30. God, I'm so bitter this morning. But this new teaser suggests the announcement of the first athletic apparel that incorporates the Jacquard technology. Perhaps the apparel will connect to FIFA Mobile. I don't really care. Do you guys care about this? I don't know. I mean, I would love to see how the technology works, but like touching myself to silence I don't know. Whatever. Okay. George says I've used RCS with Will, but it seems kind of dead. George, the only time I've ever used RCS is with Will. I have never used RCS otherwise. Never. And Will's been messaging me lately on iMessage. So that goes to show, well, yeah, Will's not using whatever. Let's see. Oh, we're getting better. Just come back. Yeah, come on, Will. Terrence. Hey, Terrence, what's up, man? Welcome to the stream. Not sure what you're LOLing about, but welcome to the stream. Munchie, excite me. Munchie, welcome to the stream, man. Appreciate you making it. You guys are coming in at like the very tail end of my stream, but I might give you guys another 10 or 15 minutes if you guys want me to be more bitter. That's what I am right now. I'm uncaffeinated. I woke up early. I am hangry, and I'm all of these all of this. Sorry, I'm kind of in the middle of just reading everything. I'm an Android fan, Brian says, and I appreciate Will's hate of Android because more reliability. We need more reliability. Yes, sure. Yes, Brian. Yes. Terrence laughing about the touch fabric. Yeah, I mean, what I don't. You know, what would be cool is if this touch fabric, like let's say it was raining, and then the touch fabric felt it was raining, and then it would, I don't know what it would do. Tell your phone it's raining. Your phone knows it's already fucking raining. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. I'm not trying to diss the technology. I want to see it do more. Like I'm going to touch my fabric to silence my phone. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's cool, but I don't know. Okay, let's move on. With the Galaxy S20, this article is from Android Central. Samsung too has jumped on the security chip bandwagon. It's Samsung's answer to Apple's T2 and Google's Titan M security chips. Also, I am very parched because I've been talking for an hour and 4 minutes straight, and I haven't had anything to drink since last night. You guys do not care. I am just bitching at this point. What you need to know: Samsung this week announced a new security chip for phones called letters and numbers. The security solution is already installed in the Galaxy S20 series. Third-party phone makers can also buy the chip to use it in their own phones. Samsung is finally joining Apple and Google in having a dedicated security chip built into its phones. However, unlike Apple's T2 security chip and Google's Titan M offering, Samsung's chip has a rather dull name. Numbers and letters. Okay, so Samsung has a new security chip. Let's just keep it at that. It's not entirely clear how it fares against Apple and Google solutions. Okay, so there's no even technical details on this yet. So the chip has earned a CCEAL 5+, which I have no idea what any of that is. But security is a good thing, guys. And I just pulled this article up because I thought it might be interesting. And it's just announcing what it is. So next article. TikTok. Let's talk about TikTok. The CEO of Reddit says TikTok is, quote, fundamentally parasitic. TikTok is one of the hottest social media platforms. Yes, it is. Everyone is using TikTok who is a Gen Zer or a Zillennial or a Zoomer is what they're calling it. Essentially, Gen Z, I think, is anyone born from after 1996. Anything before that, you're a late millennial or an older millennial, whatever, or anything before that. Boomer, Gen Y, I can't remember the rest of the ones. Okay, so TikTok is, let's see, the comments from Reddit CEO and co-founder Steve Huffman were some of the more controversial, offered up during a panel discussion with former public policy, blah, 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 blah. I don't really care about names here. Maybe I'm going to regret this, but I can't even get to that level of thinking with them, Huffman said, because I look at that app as so fundamentally parasitic that it's always listening. The fingerprinting technology they use is truly terrifying. What fingerprinting technology? To use TikTok? He might mean fingerprinting technology differently. And I could not bring myself to install an app like that on my phone. But memes, bro. They got some funny memes going on TikTok. I also use that app for like 8 hours a day at work, my old job, for months and months. So they probably know everything about me at this point. And I mean, most people do. You can just watch my YouTube channel. I actively tell people, don't install that spyware on your phone. Is that being a little just conspiracy theory-ish here? I could be wrong. I mean, you know, China might be up to China spying stuff that everyone's saying. The comments were made in front of a large group of Silicon Valley investors and entrepreneurs gathered for a one-day conference called Social 2030, put on by Lightspeed Venture Partners and Lessons VC firm Slow Ventures, aka rich people doing rich people stuff. God, I'm so bitter. The event aimed to highlight and identify trends in social apps that would be shaping the next decade of the space. Huffman comments critiqued how TikTok tracks the actions of its users. Okay, so someone's actually talking about how it tracks actions. So you guys are tracking a bunch of like 15-year-olds going to high school and coming home from high school. Great. And then going to like Starbucks to hang out there. The social media app, I'm obviously kidding, because tracking and spying and all that shit is awful. Don't get me wrong, guys. Like, please don't take this out of context, but I'm not big enough of a YouTuber for anyone to really give a fuck. The social media app was a hot topic of discussion throughout the event, and while Lesson asserted that the app had made a number of notable innovations, Huffman was one of the few at the event to offer deep criticisms of the app. TechCrunch has reached out to TikTok owner ByteDance for comment. Do you guys know that when I was working with TikTok, I went to their headquarters? I don't know. It was kind of cool. I was like, hey, I'm at your headquarters. I don't even know why I'm talking about that right now. Let me go back here. Munchie says they rolled out RCS because Will wanted them to compete with iMessage. Yeah, how's that going for them right now? I don't see that going anywhere. Let's see. Aman Singh, hi with extra eyes at the end. Okay, let's move on, guys. So, okay, here's another political one that I might be going off on. It's Facebook versus the Bloomberg campaign versus the internet. If you guys don't know who Michael Bloomberg is, he is a Republican running for president in the Democratic side now. And the only reason that Bloomberg is even running for anything is because he is worth $8 billion, more than $8 billion. I think he's worth $60 billion, which is more money than anyone can ever fathom. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because Michael Bloomberg, is there a picture of this guy here? It's this guy right here. It's very small. But so this guy, right, to get on stage, this guy paid his way to get on stage, to run for a presidential candidate. This guy, dude, you can't be paying for money this is the problem with I don't want to get too political, but like, this is the problem with money, right? Money is running everything, and it's just not the way things should be. But here's the thing. Michael Bloomberg paid high profile Instagram accounts. Michael Bloomberg paid very high profile Instagrammers to post sponsored content. World Star Hip Hop, Funny, Hood Vids, Banger Buddy, Nugget. Wow, these are some guys that I used to work. Okay, and Wasted, all accounts with millions of followers, posted ads in the form of fake, quote, relatable tweets and edited videos. That is sad. That is sad. The posts do not make use of Instagram's official system for disclosing that money has changed hands. The company has said that all creators posting sponsored content on behalf of presidential campaigns must use the official branded content tool. So they didn't even officially, I think, post it as an ad. They just got paid and said, post this content. We're going to pay you for it. Just post it as it's like original content. That would be like me posting something on Instagram without clarifying that it's an ad, right? And it just sounds like they're, rooting for him. Anyway, I'm looking at the chat. Will says he's a Democrat now. Yeah, I'm sure he's a Democrat. He just, yeah, he's a Republican that just wanted to switch over to like fuck everyone else up. But let's see here. Terrence said he was Democratic, but had to run as a Republican because there weren't any Republicans running 20 years. Yeah, I don't know. You know what? My political stance is just, what I see here is a billionaire spending money to, do his bidding, having other people do his bidding, to be the figurehead of the U.S., not voting for him, experiencing his being mayor of NYC. Yeah, hello, stop and frisk. Like, guy's an asshole. Anyway, I'm not really going to go too much into it. I just don't like when people are spending money to do nefarious things like this. JD says RCS Android messages need something like Memoji. The custom stickers are cool, but not cool enough. Yeah, RCS needs a lot of work. I don't know about you, JD, but I use Telegram. I use Telegram for everything, and that's actually something I should be making a video about. But yeah, I like Telegram. That's how I feel about it. Will says, I saw his ad after a Cardi B video. Dude, this guy is such a scumbag, man. I don't know. George says, he strikes me as a type that worships money above all. Yes, there is a video that shows how much money he's worth. Like he's worth more than that. He is worth so much more than the entire NBA franchise. You can take all the money of the NBA teams. Like there was a graph about this. Take all the revenue from all the NBA teams, and he still makes loads more money than them altogether. I might be wrong. No, you're not wrong. I mean, that's yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So Jerome, day 2 and I'm hungry. Yeah, I'm very hungry right now. You're very, oh, okay. We're coming to a close, guys. There's 2 more articles here. Fortune.com. This is a website I don't really read much of. Should consumers be wary of Apple's heartbeat monitoring app? I don't know. I didn't really read this, so I'm curious what they're talking about here. The Apple Watch will largely not detect or categorize AFib at a heart rate greater than 120 beats per minute. I'm not sure what AFib is, so if you guys want to chime in the chat, maybe Will, you know what this is. I don't. This is the success of the Apple Watch is unprecedented. In 5 short years, the Apple Watch has outsold the entire Swiss watch industry. I remember reading an article about that, with total sales exceeding 31 million units in 2019. Apple also made significant strides into the health tech market in what is part of a larger shift. Okay, let me see here. And beyond these conventional features, the latest Apple Watch includes an ECG app that is approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for the detection. I'm like looking at the corner of my eye. I see Daniel writing here, and Daniel's on my news team, and I'm sure he heard me go off on Bloomberg for the detection of atrial fibrillation. Oh, that's what AFib is. A beating abnormality of the heart that is associated with higher risks of stroke, including those that could lead to death. So a 2019 study published in the New England Journal of Medicine examined this detection by smartwatches of irregular pulses in almost 420,000 people over 8 months. But what the study didn't find, sorry, I'm skipping, guys, or perhaps more accurately, didn't even examine, is that the Apple Watch will largely not detect or categorize AFib at a heart rate greater than 120 beats per minute, according to information supplied to the FDA by Apple for the feature's approval. But 120 beats per minute, that's not normal, is it? their smartwatch. So Apple saying they made it clear that it doesn't diagnose AFib. In fact, they refer to any Apple Watch notification as a general indication that requires follow-up by a doctor for an accurate diagnosis, which is fair. That's fair. Like your iWatch isn't your doctor, right? It's not going to tell you. But Apple also openly indicates that its smartwatch is not constantly looking for AFib, and that people with AFib may not get a notification. I mean, I get it, right? Like it's important. I mean, if they could detect something like that, but it's also not Apple's job to do that. AFib typically has a heart rate, of 100 to 175 beats per minute, according to the Mayo Clinic. According to the study, roughly 1/3 of patients had a heart rate of over 120. Further, some of these patients were receiving beta blockers, a drug therapy commonly used to control the rapid rate and symptoms of AFib. So is Apple not, but should this impact the confidence consumer? Oh, I see what it is. So having one of these watches might make you feel safe that you might not have AFib, even though Apple might not be reporting that you might have it. How hard would it be for Apple to do that though? Okay, so here we go. So where does responsibility lie? That's a complex question that reflects the broader digital health trend where new products offer up partial insights into a clinical condition or aspect of physiology. Still, it may be prudent to suggest that the exuberant response, sorry, I'm at the last paragraph, by consumers may be well served by a reflective pause. The innovations around heart rate variability, arrhythmias, and the vast opportunity of analytics, all that fit around your wrist, will offer a tremendous opportunity for diagnosis and treatment. I mean, I love that these watches are doing a lot more than just giving you notifications or checking texts or phone calls, that, it's using your heart rate to kind of see if you're doing okay. Maybe this is something Apple can, it says here, certainly Apple can address this issue and potentially expand the range beyond the current 120 beats per minute limitation. I'd love to see that. I mean, why not, right? If it can do it, do it. But consumers need to stay engaged and understand that such tools aren't an end to detection, right? Like, don't use the watch to say, I'm never going to the doctor now, even though I know I have an issue. But just the beginning. And it's this partnership, informed consumer and physician, that will drive further success for health tech. I agree. Let me go through wow, you guys kind of went off here. So keep it up, Will. Jerome's inspiration. Yes, Will. Keep up with the healthy living, man. I'm all for it. No, because it's, quote, saving lives. I might have read this out of context. Oh no, Daniel didn't. I thought Daniel was going to talk about Bloomberg here, but he wasn't. Daniel says, I would never trust a smartwatch as a medical device, and no one else should. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good way to see what's going on, right? Check your sleep, check your heart, but it isn't a be all end all, right? It's not something that's gonna. Your Apple Watch is not your doctor. Let's just put it that way. Will says fast heartbeat, but the blood flow isn't good. That's good to know. I never knew this. So Gilio Jack says AFib, atrial fibrillation, is a quivering or irregular heartbeat arrhythmia that can lead to blood clots, stroke, heart failure, and other heart-related complications. Wow, I didn't realize that it's that kind of stuff that would lead to that. Honestly, they have said that it's not the substitute for an actual EKG. I'm glad they mentioned that. I mean, it really shouldn't be. Wow, you guys know about AFib a lot more than I do. A chamber of the heart locks up in small quiverings instead of a full beat. That's scary, man. It detects irregular heartbeats, though, and the people who have said it helped them go to the hospital. Right? I remember reading an article where it was like a 12-year-old or somebody was wearing a watch, an Apple Watch, and it kind of noted to them that something was off, and when they went to the hospital, he had heart surgery like almost immediately after, and it saved his life, which is great. Again, it's not a mean to an ends, right? Like, don't use that as your, but to have something that'll detect it, I don't see anything wrong with that. It detects rapid heartbeat and advises you to go to the doctor. JD says, I have Telegram, but I use it like a Facebook group feature, then sending regular message. I know. I feel like a lot of people aren't transitioning, even though I'm trying to get people to transition over. Daniel says a poor man's heart monitor with an expensive device is an interesting conflict that will still get people killed. Yeah, that's actually a really that's a really different way of looking at it, especially with how expensive these are. Okay. It detects when you're relaxed. That's how it recognizes it. When you're relaxed, it should be slower. So if it's elevated, it alerts you. Okay. George, my resting heart rate is 70. George, you're like the healthiest guy I know, man. I gotta take tips and advice from you. I have to be really pushing my exercise hard to get to 120, mainly because I've been exercising hard for many years. JD says, I think any consumer tech helps bring awareness, but you still need to use something specific. Still need to go to your doctor. Agree. Will says it detects up to 150 beats per minute. Daniel says you need a device specifically made and tailored to a patient to do this with the reliability needed so that people don't die, not a ubiquitous device with an app. I agree. Yeah, there's just so many factors. I mean, everyone's different, right? The default is 120. You have to set it to detect above 120. Okay. Wow, you guys are going off in the comments. Every year, Apple has them at the keynote. Dear Tim, my Apple Watch. I gotcha. What are the chances that the app or the phone is going to sell this information to insurance companies and increase your rate? That's also true. I mean, these are things that a lot of people don't think about. Will says the insurance companies are giving them out. They want you to keep exercising. Check your iPhone, Jerome. I'm going to check my iPhone right now. What are you sending me? Oh, okay. So yeah, so Will sent me where you can have it detect past 120 beats per minute. Why didn't they mention that in the article? Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I got one more article, guys. This stream is running a lot longer than I thought. Holy shit! I was supposed to work on a video today, and I really wanted to do it before I went on vacation, but I don't think that's going to happen. Also, for you guys who are in the stream, I'm going on vacation, and that was something I was going to put at the end, but yeah. Okay, last article here is Huawei P40 phone set for a March 26th launch. Still no Google apps in sight. This is something I might have mentioned earlier about Google not participating because they can't, because, you know, stuff happening with spying and whatever. But it says Huawei is in for a few crazy few months. A new rumor pegs the launch of their next P40 series of devices in the next couple weeks, but the phone still won't have Google apps. However, Google has applied for an exception to the current ban that prevents them from doing business with Huawei, which might turn things around after March. So this is the new P40. It looks like they're going with a similar, these are renders, aren't they? Are these real? The Huawei P40 is expected to have an announcement. Yeah, I think these are renders. Debuting the latest tech from Huawei's mobile division. It looks very similar to like an S20 Ultra. We're expecting high refresh rate displays, blazing fast Kirin 990 5G processors. I know nothing about Kirin, and 5 cameras with a high zoom periscope lens on the P40 Pro. But of course, you won't be able to use Google Maps or grab your favorite apps from the Play Store with either new phone, which is honestly, it's a debilitating factor. However, Google has recently applied for an exemption to the entity list that currently prevents them from doing business with Huawei. Being granted that exemption would allow them to continue working directly with Huawei on Android projects, and should theoretically very quickly bring Android apps in the Play Store back to Huawei phones. We'll see if that happens. There's no timeline on when the decision will be made, but Microsoft was given an exemption at the end of last year. Do you guys use, I'm not going to go through the rest of this article. Do you guys use Huawei phones still? Or any of you guys, I mean, the only Huawei phone that I've ever had was my Nexus 6P. And, oh, then why do I still have, sorry, guys, I didn't mean to keep that chat up. Yeah, I haven't used a Huawei phone since, so I have no idea. Sorry, I'm just, you guys are still going on about the heart thing. Wow. Yeah. As far as Huawei goes, I don't, I mean, until Google, has the rights to put stuff back on there, I don't see myself really using one, because maybe unless I sideload it, right? I think people are able to find ways around it, but I don't know if it even works that well. Will says Huawei 6P got me paid. I know, you're lucky. I forgot to apply for that money grab. But yeah, anyway, guys, that's about it. I've gone almost an hour and a half here. I need a break. I am hangry and I am uncaffeinated and I need some of that. But I do want to thank everybody for coming to the stream, for joining the chat today, for supporting. Again, means a lot to me, guys. I know live streaming is something new that I've been doing and I'm feeling a lot more comfortable with it. Somebody in the chat earlier asked me if I was going to be doing shorter videos, that they kind of miss that stuff. And that is something that I plan to still do. It's just, I've been crazy lately doing a bunch of stuff lately. So I'm trying to find a better balance. So here's an FYI. Typically I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sundays at 9 a.m. Eastern. This Sunday, I run a show with Mike Dixon from Simply Your Device. You guys should check him out because he's a great guy. We run a show called The Standard at 9 a.m. Eastern on Sunday. I will not be doing that show this Sunday because I'm going to be out of town. But Mike Dixon will be streaming that live on his own channel. He's going to be hosting it with his brother and maybe someone else. I'm not sure, but look for him at Simply Your Device on YouTube. He does great work. He's a great guy. He's been really helpful with getting me back on track with like all my YouTube stuff. So feel free to check him out. I'm not going to be back. I'm going to be out of town until Tuesday night. So there won't be a TNT Joe-Fi live on Tuesday either. So technically I will be back in a week. I might try to have a video put up, but I don't know yet. No promises. So anyway, I do want to thank everybody for joining the chat, joining the stream, joining me reading 10, 12 different pieces of news. I'm sorry if I sounded really bitter today, but I feel like this is a more genuine Jerome that you might be seeing from now on. Obviously, that changes from time to time on how I'm feeling. Yeah, that might be it. Again, thanks so much for supporting, guys. If you guys haven't, feel free to please like this video if you haven't liked it already. I liking this video apparently helps me get seen more. So if you guys could do that, I would appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't. Share this video. Say that Jerome Ortega is the best tech YouTuber in the world, and even though he can't buy phones right now, you still support him. Anyway, guys, thanks again so much. This Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern, again, look for Mike Dixon, Simply Your Device. Check out the 7th issue of The Standard. He's a great guy. I will not be hosting TNT Joe-Fi live on Tuesday, but I will be back Thursday. I might revamp things just a little bit. But so far, I think things are doing well. Again, thanks again, everyone, for supporting. If you guys haven't, I post very regularly. Last thing, I post very regularly on Instagram. I also post pretty regularly on Twitter, or a bit more. So look for me on Instagram and Twitter at Phone Jerome. You guys can interact with me a lot more there as well. Show you guys what else is going on in my life other than YouTube. So that's about it. All right, guys, I am hitting end broadcast, and usually there's that weird awkward silence in a couple seconds. So I will see you guys next week. Take care.